What is it that we all need to do in order to improve the quality of the world we live in? This has been the topic for the last 2 or 3 podcasts. So today I'm going to look at something a little bit more in depth with regards to what we can all do individually in order to improve the quality of lives that we live, and in order to take back the reality that we seem to have handed over to the despicable ones.
Yo, yo, you see, these dreams only seem to manifest when I'm woke. I'll bite the wings off an angel if that shit helps me cope. But on this downhill stream where we tumble and roll, it seems I only find solace in a couple of folks. Yeah, man, I'm grown now.
What binds us all together? I don't know. You know, it's funny. You sit down and you look at everything and you wonder, where am I? What's going on? Nothing seems to make sense anymore. It all depends on how you want to look at it. What makes sense? Last night, I had a drink, and I had a drink and I had a cigar in my hand, and I went out under the rain with my drink and my cigar. And I looked up at the clouds. I looked up, and it just seemed like there was a blanket of clouds everywhere. Just a blanket. I couldn't see. Usually, it doesn't matter how heavy the rainy season is. You can see, little segments of clear sky and the moon and possibly some stars. There's cloud there, but this is like a blanket. You couldn't see anything, even with the lightning. There was nothing. It was just a blanket of clouds. And the same thing this morning when I woke up and I looked up and I was like, wow, something's going on. Just clouds. There's nothing else. You can't see anything else, just clouds. Just a blanket of clouds. What is real? I don't know what's real anymore. I didn't even have any reason to make this video today. I don't know why I'm doing it. I have no topic in my head that I want to talk about. It's just the same thing that I've been talking about that just seems to be the only thing I can talk about. And that's lies. You see, I have a theory. Now, let me put forward this theory. My theory is that the reason why the kind of evil we see in the world today is able to survive and thrive is because we all participate in it. And we have given it a seal of approval by our current mannerisms. What do I mean by that? Well, let's consider what we ingest, from our food to our entertainment. Let's consider how our minds work. What are our priorities? What do we copy? What do we most want to be like? Not who. I know who might seem to be what would be more appropriate when you're talking about copying, but I'm talking about what. Everything is driven around the acquisition of money. Everything is driven around the attainment of status. Everything is about celebrity. Everything is about recognition. Everything is about superficial significance. Everything, over the last 10, 20 years. Look at the programs that have been fed to us on television. It's all been about, reality show, trying to be like this or trying to be like that. This one has talent, blah, blah, blah. And everything is all about self-aggrandization. It's all about public recognition. It's all about, it's almost like a cult following, this celebrity worship and this very external projection of our sense of identity. It's more projected to the outside. Very little do we see in the legacy media with regards to introspection, with regards to faith, with regards to the discovery of self, with regards to the alignment of ourselves spiritually, with regards to identification of the things that bring us together, with regards to harmony. Everything has been violent, everything is violent. Even the most entertaining forms of entertaining things that we watch, they're all violent. Even our cartoons are violent. Everything is violent, violence, violence, violence. Violence has been repackaged and sold as entertainment. Violence has been ingrained in our psyche as access to distraction, entertainment. We take more pleasure from seeing things being destroyed. We sit down and look at somebody falling off a staircase as comedy. The things that we have actually conditioned our minds into believing funny. If you take a step back and look at some of the things that we laugh at, they're really quite hideous. They're not that funny. But we've been conditioned to thinking this way. So we've been the participants in our own, downfall, our own jailing of our minds, the imprisonment of our minds. We have fully participated in creating the perfect prison for our minds. This is what I'm saying. So we've been complicit. We, and I'm talking about me with the we, so it's not exclusive. We take in all of this. We see this as modern culture. We have now entered to a new dimension, aligning ourselves with what has been popularly known as cancel culture. We see where that's going. Everything is so sensitive. People can't say what they feel. So look at where we're going. At the same time, those who orchestrate all of this confusion are leaning us towards a socialist type agenda. Universal basic income, high minimum wage, everything for everybody is supposed to be standardized. And when you look at all that, where does that lean to? They're talking about the expansion of diversity, but by their very acts, they are actually decentralizing it and killing what diversity we have, because we have to be diverse, but our minds are now conforming to a specific ideology. That's not diverse. And if you say anything contrary to that ideology, you become an outcast, or you become censored, or people point fingers at you. Oh, you're this, you're racist, you're this, you're bigot, you're transphobic, you're homophobic. It's almost like, if you don't think like we think, then you're not diverse. And how is that diverse? That's the very antithesis of diversity. That can't be diversity. Diversity means you have to consider all opinions. It doesn't matter even if some opinions are offensive. They are still opinions. You can't actually believe the world has to think like you or like me, believing that everybody has to conform to the way I think because the way I think is correct. That really is more totalitarian, you're looking at a very controlled society, a controlled reality. It's like, somebody can come and say, okay, the way these people think is wrong, and so we shouldn't actually listen to them at all. And this is what happened to Africa, why we were ostracized from, popular history. so you can see where this is going. We are complicit in our own mental imprisonment because we don't dare to think outside of what has been presented to be conventional wisdom. We don't explore with our minds anymore. We're so on the phone. We're so in the now. We're so distracted with the activities and the complex ratio. I mean, look at television. You have everything now, streaming. You have so much option, you get confused trying to choose. You look at food, and you look at how people advertise goods. They're so convincing, they make you buy things that you don't need, and they don't suggest that you get what you require, what you need in order to survive. The whole world is caught up in this survival, self-preservation, convenience, confusion, convolution mode. We don't know what's real anymore. We have no sense of purpose. We have no sense of, by me saying we, I know it sounds, some might take offense with the word saying we. Oh, I'm not in that category. Good luck to you. I am talking about we as in me, but in the collective, because I believe there are quite a few people in this particular situation as well. Quite a few people who feel and think this way. I'm speaking for them. This is not for everybody. It's a very confusing time. COVID, wear one mask, wear two. You have a common cold. You're afraid to sneeze, even with a handkerchief. So much fear. There's so much fear everywhere. Everybody's afraid. We're afraid of dying. Yet we say we have faith in God. Yet we believe in that transition towards us living here and going to heaven. So everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. This is a very popular phrase, something I've used so many times, So we're afraid. We're afraid of getting sick. We're all afraid. But what are we really afraid of? It's a very good question. What are we really afraid of? What is expanding this fear in us? What do we fear? It's interesting when you switch off everything and you just allow the quiet to guide you, and allow the quiet to motivate the thinking process without having any particular topic in mind, just allowing the quiet to guide you, and you just think out loud, if I can use that. Thinking out loud. It's a good thing to say. And you think and you think and you think, and you just allow the thoughts to, just flow and process whatever is coming in. And I was doing this the other day. I just switched off everything. I was just like phone, everything off, TV, nothing. I was just sitting down in a very quiet room. And I started to ask myself some questions. And I haven't done this. I think the last time I did this was when I was writing my book. And I used to do that for days on end. Sometimes I'd just lock myself up in darkness and stay there for a day or two, and I'd be thinking and processing and just crying, experiencing all kinds of emotions, trying to come to terms with why I was doing what I was doing and why I was where I was. I was trying to explore. Then I was exploring aspects of guilt and pain and processing all of that because I'd been through such a traumatic experience when my father died and all the things that happened after that with family and all that. And I was carrying a lot of pain and hurt inside of me. And so this was a way of me shedding all of that and dealing with it, and with the writing and trying to just relieve myself of all this pain and anger and anguish and see if I could find something else. But I wanted to understand what the pain was. I wanted to understand why the pain was. So I had to go deep into it. I had to allow myself to be swallowed by it and the confusion and try and come out on the other side, hoping that I would. I wasn't certain where I'd come, but hoping that I'd come out on the other side having more information about, the effects of pain and what the pain and why it's there, and see if that information would serve me. And it was through that through that synthesis, I was able to write my book and express all the things that I expressed it the way I did. So I know this process, this catharsis, it works, when you allow yourself to feel deeply. I know I talk like this. If you're listening to me, you'd probably get used to me talking like this. Sometimes I'm all over the place, but there's a train of thought attached to it, but all things are linked. But the idea is to actually carry what I'm saying and apply it to what you are experiencing. So here I was in this quiet room, just vibing out in my mind, and I kept thinking, why? And the only thing that came into my head was, we lie. That's it. We lie. I was like, okay, everybody lies. And there lies the problem. Everybody lies. We lie. We lie when we're not supposed to lie. We lie without knowing that we lie. We lie for the most insignificant reasons. We lie under the guise of protecting people we love. We lie with the intent to deceive people we care about. We lie with the intent, or with the idea, or with the feeling, or the assumption that we are protecting people that... No, we lie for no particular reason sometimes. We just lie because it feels good, because we've been conditioned to lie. Our whole reality is a lie. Everything about our history is a lie. There's so many things that have been omitted. Remember, one of the definitions that I gave to a lie is the absence of detail. And the reason why I said that, because I have a t-shirt that says, in every lie lays some truth. The foundation of every lie is actually truth. It's a very funny thing to wrap my head around, because no matter how distorted the lie is, on some plane, in some segment of the multiverse, that lie could be true. I'm late for work because I was abducted by aliens. It is possible. It is not impossible. I think, what was that thing Sherlock Holmes says? When you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, is true. We cannot think about the impossible. Our minds are not wired that way. Everything we think about, regardless of how improbable, exists. It depends on where it exists, on what plane it exists. You sit down and you look at extraterrestrials, look at aliens, look at every movie. On some level, that exists somewhere. Imagination can't come from nowhere. Imagination cannot go outside of the realm of existence. It can't. How can you imagine what cannot possibly exist? The fact that we don't see air doesn't mean that air doesn't exist. That's a perfect explanation for that. You don't see the air you breathe, but you believe that the air is there, and in fact, you depend on it to exist. So, if we reduce existence to what our senses are accessible to, I think that's short selling it. That's short selling it. As long as it can be imagined, it exists. That's another t-shirt I have. If it can be imagined, it already exists. And I believe this very strongly. So back to lies. We lie. How can we not lie? I guess for me, I started asking myself the same question because, I lie. The difference is I try and track the lies now. I pay attention to tracking the lies. I made a commitment to myself to stop lying because I was really good at it. I was a very, very good liar. I could just lie like that. I could, I used it in so many ways that was advantageous to me until I decided, no, I can't do this anymore. Because I couldn't track the lies. There were just so many. It took me in so many different directions, and I just felt so disjointed. So I said, okay, from now on, I'll tell myself the truth. Even if I want to lie to you, I'll tell myself the truth. That was a commitment I made with me. And I decided this was the way I'd be, Even if I wanted to lie to somebody, I'll tell myself the truth. I'd tell myself, okay, this is the reason why I want to lie. This is the reason why the lie has to be told. It doesn't, even if it's not justified, okay, fine. If I'm having a conversation with you and I let a little boo-boo slip like an exaggeration, I'd remind myself, oops, you just told a boo-boo that. Why was that necessary? Because in my deduction, people lie when they're afraid. When you feel less than, that's when the lie is like a compensation not to make you feel more than how you're currently feeling. You could lie because you want to avoid embarrassment. You could lie because you want to seem bigger. You want to seem more confident. You could lie because you want to win an argument. There's so many reasons. There are endless reasons. You can lie because you want to appear smarter than you are. And all of these things I have done. All of these lies I have told. And I realized that they don't really sustain the feeling that I want. The lie doesn't sustain the feeling that I need in order to feel better about myself. The lie just allows me to escape temporarily. It's just like taking a pill. It suppresses, but it doesn't get rid of. That's why hospitals don't cure. It suppresses. Let's leave that out because that would lead us to a whole different argument. So maybe another video will talk about that. But it suppresses. The lie never really fixes the issue. It just, gives you a moment of levity, a moment where you feel, and like a friend of mine, and in a book I read, it said, for every lie, it goes to the fourth power. So a lie is n to the fourth power. So you tell one lie, you have to tell 4 lies in order to back up that lie. And then each and every one of those 4 lies has to have his own 4 lies. And it's exponential. So if you can't track the lie, you could just end up, losing perspective. And so the guy says if you want to catch somebody who's telling a lie, just ask them 4 questions, 4 meaningful questions, and you'll be able to catch them out. It's an interrogation technique that they use. By they, I mean the alphabet boys, clandestine operation type people, CIA and all that bollocks. Yeah, so here we are. We lie. Now, the why has to be done by every individual. You have to understand why you lie, why you feel it's necessary to lie. But first of all, you have to confess to yourself that you lie. This is very important because a lot of people don't believe they tell lies, even when they're telling lies. They're like, no, these are my perceptions. Your perceptions are based on what information? If the information is second-hand, third-hand, because everything really is second-hand, it's probably based on somebody else's perspective. This is why meditation is necessary, introspection, prayer, things that allow you to communicate with the inside. The simplicity of that communication, the simplicity of that communication, going on the inside, looking on the inside, that simplicity of the communication, going in and finding out what's really, really happening in there, how you think about you in there, how you feel about you in there. I've always said that the truest way to communicate with self is feeling. And the feeling is one of two. For me, I either feel good or I don't feel good. My body would biochemically interact with me, and there's always a physiological, experience. There's an experience when you feel. A biochemical reaction would create a physiological experience, and your body would speak to you. Your spirit and your mind and your body would collude, and it would converse with you if you just listen. And so these quiet times allow one to distinguish between those feelings of I'm feeling good and I'm not feeling good, and then that's because language is corrupt. Language is man-made. Everything man-made is corrupt. It's corruptible. Quite a few things I'm bouncing off here, but I hope you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So, first of all, by confessing that I lie, that I tell lies, it's a way of subverting the intent to deceive someone else. Well, maybe not subverting, maybe just realizing my intent to deceive, because you've subverted means you're countering it. So even if you don't counter it, but my intent to deceive, I want to deceive you, that's why I'm lying to you. I want to deceive you, that's why I'm lying to you. I'm not lying to you because I don't want to deceive you. I'm lying to you because I want to deceive you. Because if I didn't want to deceive you, I would not lie to you. Now, if I truly love you, why would I want to deceive you? Because the truth hurts sometimes, yes. So I want to spare you the pain. But I already know what the truth is. So I'm already carrying that pain for you. Funny. It's a different way to think. I know we're not really wired this way. It's a different way to think. Perfect example would be somebody's dying of, a doctor goes and somebody has cancer and you say, how long do I have to live? Oh, it says 6 months when it's a week. And invariably you're trying to soften the blow. But by telling them they have a week, you've given them the ammunition to make preparations rather than it catching them unexpectedly. You see my point? You can look at it from both sides. But there's something that says, and I think it's in the Bible, it says the truth shall set you free. Nothing else but the truth shall set you free. But what is the truth? Some people say, truth is subjective. It's based on... But there's some things that are foundational. There's some things that are fundamental. There are some things that are universal. There's some truths that are indisputable. I wrote a poem, a poem called I Am Truth. It's very long. I've read it already. If you want, send me an email. I'll send you a PDF of that. Actually, I can send a PDF of my book free to anybody who wants it, because at the end of the day, if you want to pay for it, fine. I appreciate the commitment, but the PDFs, if you want it for free, just send me an email. I'll send you a PDF copy. I think it's necessary if, we share. So the truth is indisputable. There's some truths like gravity. If you jump up, you're going to fall down. Maybe if you go outside of the atmosphere, gravity might react differently, but there's still a pull. There's still a pull. It's a force. There's a pull. Fire will burn, water will make you wet. These things are universal. You can do that. 1 + 1 is 2, and even if you go to Pluto, same. So if we calibrate truth based on our perspective or our perceptions, then what we're doing is we're taking away detail and fitting it into our individual perspectives. say, okay, for me, 1 + 1 is 3. And you'd want to argue that simply because you have some hypothesis. But the truth is the truth. The truth is, it just is. You can fight it any way you want. It just is. And the truth can never be used to deceive. It can never be. If something is true, how can I deceive you with what is true? It is evidently true. It can never be used to deceive. So truth is truth. So these are all the things that were going on in my head. I was just thinking about, okay, how do I stop lying? Just imagine if the whole world stopped lying. Recklessly lying, recklessly. Imagine if we all made that kind of commitment to ourselves, not to anybody else, because it doesn't really work when you make that commitment to someone else. It works best when you make the commitment to self. Pardon me. If you make the commitment to self and you say, like I said to myself, I'm not going to lie stupidly, just recklessly. If I need to lie, it's because I intend to deceive somebody, and there has to be a particular reason why I want to deceive them. Apart from that, I'm going to tell the truth, especially to myself. If I don't like you, I'm not going to say to myself, I don't like you. These are my reasons why I don't like you. I know them. They're evident to me. I know. So I am aware of my own prejudice. I am fully aware of that prejudice. I know. I don't like you. I'm not going to deceive myself and say, no, I don't like you. And these are the reasons why I don't like you. I'm aware of it. Now, being aware of that, it also exposes my shortcomings. My shortcomings are now exposed to me. They're in a state of awareness. Those things that could be subconscious are now conscious. So I wouldn't walk around looking for people that I don't like to interact with. Doesn't make sense. I don't want to go there. I'm afraid of that particular location. And then I walk around and then I say to myself, oh, why can't I go there? I don't want to go there. I don't like that particular environment. And yet I'm looking for a justification as to why I should go there. Doesn't make any sense. I know it's a bit simplified, but I'm hoping that you're watching this and you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So I know what I don't like. I know the reasons why I don't like it. I confess it to myself. I keep it in awareness. This would help to solve the race problem, in my opinion, too. If you don't like a black person, you know why. The reasons are there. You know, and you accept it. You don't try and downplay it. No, you accept it. Hey, I don't like black people. This is the reason why I don't like black people. Or this is the reason why I don't like white people. This is the reason why I don't like this. And you confess that to yourself. It comes out. So it is not something that you're trying to rationalize and try and be politically correct about. You tell yourself the absolute truth. Then you can deal with the situation. You can look at all those reasons why and begin to make sense of all of those reasons. Justify the reasons in order to understand why. And I think you'll be able to solve your own individual problems and deal with your own individual prejudices if you just make that kind of commitment to yourself. Refuse to tell yourself a lie. Now we can begin to solve all the other problems because you understand why you're doing what you're doing. You understand where you come from. And that's your own personal choice. We're privy to our own individual prejudices. Now, this whole government trying to tell us how to think, how to speak, it doesn't work. We have to do the work individually ourselves. We need to be responsible and conscious of our thoughts, speech, and our actions individually. Now, if we all commit to this, if we all are committed to this situation, committed to this kind of situation, imagine Just imagine what kind of reality we would be able to recreate after we go through all these processes of dealing with our individual prejudices by confessing them first, accepting that we have them, and then dealing with them. It now forces us to go deep inside and find a better version of ourselves if we choose to deal with them. We find a better version of ourselves. If we choose not to deal with them, then we know who to avoid. We know where not to go. We know what not to do. But we know the truth about who we are. This might sound very simplistic, but there's so many people that are walking around, even me included, just having these emotions and feelings and prejudices and not dealing with them, not confronting them. In fact, oblivious that they even exist. And then our attitude towards certain people can be, to use a lesser word, ambivalent at times. It is necessary to look inside, to love inside enough to be honest with inside. Because that's where everything is. So the lies we tell, if we just decide to track all the lies that we tell, track them, track everyone. When you're lying, say to yourself, you can even do it comically at first, laugh about it at first. Like you're having a conversation with somebody, you drop a boo-boy, you're like, whoop, that's one, whoop, that's two. You track them. You can actually track all these lies, and then you begin to say, okay, if I want to stop, then this is the reason why I told this. This is the reason why I told this one. This is the reason why, I wanted to sound like I knew more than him there. I wanted to bullshit here, and I wanted to impress her here or impress him there. And, I wanted to seem smart here. I was afraid here. I didn't want to lose my job here. And so all these reasons, and then all your fears become known. All these things that are working in the subconscious, they become conscious, and you're beginning to have a better understanding of your own character, the things that make you do what you do. You have a better understanding of that. And then you can now begin to, it's almost like taking something apart and putting it back together again, like a jigsaw puzzle. Begin to say, okay, who do I want to be now? What kind of person do I want to be now? And that's the puzzle you start putting back together. Like, I lack self-confidence, so I always lie in order to make myself appear more confident. But I really want to feel better about who I am. So you begin to look at the things about you that you don't like, and the things that make you feel less confident about who you are, and you take action, you take some steps towards dealing with that. But without the understanding, without the realization, without the awareness, nothing's going to happen. Remember what Einstein said. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. We are all insane. I said this last time. We're all crazy. Because if we haven't made any progress with the amount of technology and everything that we see, but we haven't made any progress with regards to character, content of character, then what's the point in all the technological advancements? What's the point if we can't treat ourselves better, if we can't see us as being better? Is there really any point in any of this? Nose hair. Is there really any point? I don't know. I think the first thing that we need to look towards improving, if we want to really improve the quality of lives, I think we have to improve the quality of ourselves. But in order to do that, we need to understand why we are imperfect. We need to really soul search, go inside and find out where the bullshit is and start processing it. If we all individually do this, then we have hope. If we don't, we're looking for someone else to do it for us, someone else to guide and instruct us, looking for someone to lead us to. We have to lead ourselves first. There's something I was talking about with a friend I read in the Bible, and it says that before you take the speck, now this is very important, before you take the speck out of somebody else's eye, take the plank. You know, a plank is to infinity. How big a plank can be? A plank can be this small, it can be that wide. So take the plank out of your own eyes first, before you take the speck out of somebody else's. How many of us are going through life every day trying to take the speck out of other people's eyes, without considering the plank that we have? Take your plank out first. That means you have to look at your own eye first. You have to look into yours first and find that plank before you start looking at somebody else's and take the speck out. Like we say back home, you point the finger, 3 more pointing at you once to the heavens. Personal responsibility. You take personal responsibility for all your bullshit. You take personal responsibility for everything that you do, say, and think. You take that personal responsibility, and the world will automatically evolve into a better place. That's my theory. That's the theory I wanted to put forward today. And that's what I am practicing. I am nowhere near half as good as I should be. Nowhere close. I have so much to unlearn. I still lose my temper uncontrollably sometimes. I still say the wrong things to the people that I care about. I still hold a grudge for things that I'm not supposed to hold a grudge. I am nowhere near to being even close to being anything as compared to what I'm suggesting here. But I'm working at it, and I realize it. I'm working at it. And I'm trying every single day. I'm making steps. I'm taking steps towards improving the quality of person that I am. And if I need to isolate from everybody else in order to find more depth in me, then so be it. The world needs us to be the best version of ourselves. The question is, are we up for the challenge? Well, that's my rant for the day, at least part one. I'm going to shut down and probably come back up later on, do the afternoon session. This is, it's been invigorating. It's been a release for me. Now, if you like the videos that I do, if you find them entertaining or informative, please share. The whole point of having information that can help us go to a better place is so we can share. There's no point in being the richest man in the graveyard. Share. If you have any comments, write them down. Send some feedback. If you find what I'm saying in error, tell me. If you have a better way, let us know. There's a comment section, fill it in. Say what you want to say, fill it in. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you feel about what I'm saying. If I'm wrong, let me learn. Give me the opportunity to learn. If you have a better way of doing things, please share it with me. Let us learn from each other. Let's grow with each other. That's the whole point of all of this. That's why I started doing these things. Not because, well, because I wanted to share what I was feeling, what I was sensing, share everything that I had inside of me at this time when everybody seems to be more enclosed, especially at this time when they're trying to keep us separate. Social distancing. Why is the name social there? Social and distancing. I mean, sit down and process these things. I take the word for word, the word social. What does the word social mean? And then distancing. And you put the two together. You want us to be social. Okay, let's look at social in context of us gathering together. Us gathering together and then distancing us who are gathering together. Then why are we gathering together? Very confusing. Very confusing. All the words that they use, I always try and pick the words apart and see what's the intent behind this particular phrase that has actually been given to us, that way, the new normal. What was the old normal like? How can you have there's just normal. What is normal? Old normal, new normal. You know, I pay a lot of attention to a lot of the terminologies that I used. Most of them don't make sense to me, but that's just the way I roll. Like I learned from Neely Fuller, who is a great inspiration for me. Sometimes you have to redefine words for yourself, because it is the meaning you give to an event that gives that event power. The meaning you give to a particular situation or word, that's what gives it power, not the word itself. The word itself is just a word. It's the meaning. Like in the Matrix Revolution, when he says, love is a word. What is important is the connection that that word implies. It's the meaning of the word. Our interpretation, our personal interpretation of the word is what gives that word power. So somebody can come and call me a stupid. What is my interpretation of stupid? On some level, stupid can mean smart. It depends on who it's coming from. Okay, that's a rough example. You get what I'm saying. Sometimes we get caught up in reacting to words without actually understanding the meaning we've given to that word, and if that meaning makes sense. Something we need to research as well. And all of that comes from telling yourself the truth. Let's start doing this. Let's challenge ourselves individually to just tell ourselves the truth. What's so wrong with it? Well, I'm not saying that we should do anything grandiose. This is just be honest with yourself. Tell yourself the truth. Not a big thing. See what happens. Just see what happens. Just tell ourselves the truth. Process our prejudices. Understand why we have them. See what happens. Then we make strides towards improving the quality of people that we are. Let's try and be better people. We want a better world. Let's try and be better people, deserving of this better world that we want. That's it. I'm going to sign off here. And thank you again for your audience. Like I said, share, click to subscribe. This is on YouTube, youtube.com/user/EAPNU. You can catch all that. The outro would actually show you all of that. Send me an email if you want, info@ea2wo.com. Send questions. I usually do a segment where I answer questions that some send. I've had about 2 so far. Give us feedback, comment, share, visit the website, look at all the other videos that I've done. All of that information would be in the show notes, and also I publish on YouTube and on Rumble and on Facebook. I was in Facebook prison, I've been let out, so now I also send links on LinkedIn and wherever. Most social media platforms, just type in EA2WO and you'd probably catch me, find me there. So until next time, until we get the opportunity to vibe again, I wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay in love with yourself and with all those around you, and try not to lie to yourself. Have a nice day. Thank you.